from Create More to the government's ongoing ASF vaccine program, let's get the outside looking in perspective from British Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Chris Nelson, who joins us live all the way from London this morning. Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for taking our call.
Good morning, and good morning from London to all your viewers.
All right. So, Chris, I want to start with two photos here. Let's flash the first one, and maybe you can tell us what's happening in the photo. All right. Let's flash the first photo for Chris. There you go. What's this photo about? What happened here?
So, Philippine National Bank is one of our members. Also, I'm associated with them. And we're here discussing what's going on and how, obviously, the Philippine National Bank is helping Filipinos and doing business in the UK. PNB Europe has been established over many years, and therefore we're in discussions with the board there. The managing director there is Christine Vicente, and they're doing a lot of outreach programs, working also with the Philippine Embassy. And also reaching out to many Filipinos. The estimate of number of Filipinos living in the UK is about 250,000. Of course, many of those now have British citizenship. But of course, that also reinforces the strong ties between the UK and the Philippines. So as I'm here in London, I obviously visit our members. I also obviously work with the Philippine National Bank, and it was one of those meetings, and it's good to show. And as you can see, it was a nice day in London, even though summer is coming to the end.
Chris, just very curious. So PNB Europe helps Filipinos do business in London. Do we have a big business community of Filipinos in London where you are? Or are we mostly professionals?
I think it's a variety. Obviously, there's a lot of Filipinos, as you know, who've set up here. It's been recognized by the UK government, the support given by Philippine professionals, particularly in the healthcare sector, but also in the care sector and other areas. PNB Europe also handles across Europe as well. So it's not just focused on the UK. So you have obviously Filipinos in Ireland, in Italy. And obviously it's one of the key things in remittance, along with other members that we have who also work here. There are other banks, of course, BDO, BPI, are all members of the Chamber as well. So what it reinforces, I believe, is that the UK and the Philippines continues to grow, as we've discussed, in terms of our trade relations. And that can be facilitated also by, obviously, the business and remittances that come back and looking at trade opportunities. As I said, it's grown. We're now at the highest level of trade investment between the two countries at 2.7 billion. And we're looking forward to seeing that grow even more as we come towards the end of 2024 and go on into 2025, with exports being one of the key drivers for the UK and obviously working with countries such as the Philippines. All
right. We'll get to trade later on. But first, your second photo. This is a photo with the ambassador, Philippine ambassador to the UK. What was the important conversation you've had here?
So we have an ongoing conversation with Ambassador Locsin. We discussed particularly the forthcoming Great British Festival, which will take place in BGC on the 19th and 20th, and it highlights the 78th year of diplomatic relations between the two countries. We also discussed the high level of the continuing growth of trade and investment between the two countries, and we highlighted in specifically on our recent continuing growth in exports of British pork, which actually for the first 6 months, January to July, is up 26%. And that highlights the efforts we're making. We also discussed how we continue to work together. There's a group, I should add, Mimi, in London called the Philippine British Business Council. There's a counterpart in Manila. They're headed by Joe Miro and Laurie Osel. And we work also with them as we do with other chambers of commerce. So this is a regular engagement I have. And we get tremendous support from the Philippine Embassy in London and also their trade and industry section headed by Michelle Sanchez.
All right. And you did say, you know, we're marking, 78 years of relations between the UK and the Philippines. Here's a new development, Create More bill. The Congressional Bicameral Conference Committee earlier this month approved the corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprises to maximize opportunities for reinvigorating the economy. It's pretty long. In short, the Create More bill, which seeks to lower taxes on domestic and foreign companies to 20% from 25%. Is this a game changer for UK investors looking at Manila, whether you're looking at opening something new or just expanding existing operations? Are you happy with this new version? Do you think this will facilitate and draw even more investments?
Yes, I think the Create More bill is a distinct improvement. It's a priority legislation from the government. And, of course, we're pleased to see it's now passed the bicameral. We'll go now for the signature by the president. Of course, we also have to see thereafter the implementing rules and regulations. I do think it has clarified a number of the incentives within the zones, and this will be of benefit to existing companies and those who can potentially invest. I think also there is a clear decision made on the work from home. In terms of, I believe now it's 50%. The reason I mention that, a number of our members, of course, are in terms of real estate. Colliers, for example, and others are estimating this could further assist because a number of people have been working from home, which was obviously driven by the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So that could have a boost to the real estate market. Yes, Mimi, I think this will have a distinct improvement, and I think it just continues what I can say is the economic move forward. I was listening, obviously, to the earlier part of the program, waiting to come on. And, of course, we're now looking at this as a backdrop of reducing interest rates, both in the US, we anticipate today, potentially in the UK, and, of course, Banco Central cut rates. And I think this is also a stimulus to the economy, and the Create More bill is certainly to be welcomed, and I can see it driving more investments in the PESA zone.
Aside from the Create More bill, I know that you're also pushing for other measures. You have e-governance and the cybersecurity bill. How confident are you that those two will make it?
Very confident, actually. I mean, first on cybersecurity, this has been a key feature, and I'd like to congratulate because the Philippines has actually moved up on a UN scale from 61 to 53rd. So congratulations to everybody's efforts. But cybersecurity is going to be an increasingly need by everybody. We've seen that. The UK has skills. We've worked on that, as we highlighted at the very beginning of the year. We had a forum. One of our key members is CyberQ. They work extensively in the Philippines. And we see this as a growing segment. So the cybersecurity bill will further support the recent passage of the Anti-Financial Account Scamming Act. And then on the other one, the e-governance, this is part of ease of doing business. We have been a key advocate for this, constantly stressing we're an ARTA champion. Mm-hmm. And e-commerce will certainly assist that. And I'm confident, if you look at the measures which obviously the President Marcos administration is putting through, we're confident that will get passed. I think cybersecurity is currently with the Senate. I think it's passed the House. And the e-commerce, we're also confident will get passed. So, yes, we're confident. And supporting things like the Create More bill is seeing a very welcome development.
Okay, outside of those bills, I wanted to get your take as well on, because pork is one of the big export items of the UK to Manila. I imagine we bought more pork from the UK ever since we hit problems with ASF, or the African swine fever. But now that the government has started the ASF vaccination program, they're looking to expand that. How do you see this affecting trade numbers? For example, you did mention we're at record high total trade in goods and services, 2.7 billion pounds.
Look, I think that, first of all, you're correct. I mean, British pork exports have increased, along with others. We're not the highest exporter, but also we're pleased to see, I mean, African swine fever has certainly affected and seriously impacted the pig herds. This has necessitated, obviously, the extension on the lower tariffs, which, as you've seen, have now been extended towards the end of the President Marcos administration. Mm-hmm. And we see exports from the UK continuing to grow. And in that context, we work closely, as we said, with the Trade Board, AHDB. They've just been recently in the Philippines for WOFEX. They will come again in November. And I think what I want to stress here, actually, to everybody is that the Chamber, along with us, what we want to do in the UK is build long-term relationships. And in that context, we believe, obviously, British pork, which is well judged for its quality and the safety standards, is a big assist in terms of food inflation. At the same time, we encourage one of the other legislations we're very keen to see get passed is the Anti-Agricultural Economic Sabotage Act. This will certainly protect both the local producers and also legitimate importers. Okay. We understand that's now also close to signature, and that will be a great benefit and a support not just to obviously the hog industry, but to the agriculture industry as a whole. And again, this is helping with inflation, which, as we've noted, has actually come down. And that assists also in being able to reduce interest rates.
All right. Great stuff. Chris, I know you're going to be very busy tonight, I think. After a 5-year hiatus, you're having your 7th Speed Networking Night. That's happening September 18th. And then later this month, you've got the F&B industry, redefining the F&B industry, emerging trends and opportunities. That's a forum as well that you guys are sponsoring. And of course, we're all excited for the Great British Festival happening in October. Are the Spice Girls coming? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. But thank you.
I won't.
Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us and for weighing in on some of the critical measures that are now pending in the legislation and with Malacanang. We'll see you next month.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. And again, greetings from London.
All right.